So coming back to this, this whole hypothesis that the caloric value, the calories in, calories out, we all seem to be obsessed with calories in, calories out. And everybody tracks calories daily. And as I said earlier, it's not the calories that cause us to store fat. It's the endocrine system. And this is one of the things that the caloric model doesn't account for. It doesn't account for the thermic effect of food. So protein spends 20 to 35% of its calories to digest and process that protein. And carbohydrates spend 5 to 10%, and fat spends 0 to 5%. So if you remember earlier, this is sort of the general eat well plate. This is the volume of nutrients that we're consuming. So it's high in carbohydrates, medium amount of protein, and little to no fat. Now, if we were to swap the carbohydrates with the protein, so if we were to make the value of the protein to the value of the carbohydrates based on a standard of so like a 2,000 to 2,500 calories based in a day, our body would spend an additional 380 calories each day just to process that food. So this isn't even accounting for ketogenesis or anything else. This is purely down to the thermic effect of food. So if you were to eat the same amount of calories, but get them more from protein, your body would spend an additional 380 calories per day just to process those nutrients. And this is a study that highlights this. So this looks at lowering carbohydrates, and this establishes that lowering carbohydrate increased energy expenditure during weight loss. This increased the metabolic rate. So they split people into 3 groups. So they had the low carbohydrate, medium carbohydrate, and high carbohydrate. Now the difference between the low carb and high carb group, this study was isocaloric. So that the calories were the same. The amount of calories, the difference in the amount of calories spent was 278 between the high carb and the low carb group. So if we were to look at 278, if we were to play the caloric model at their own game and look at, they look at it as based on sort of 3,500 calories to gain or to lose a pound of fat. So if we were to play that at their own game, that 278 calories multiplied by 365 is 28 pounds. So if I was to clone myself and I was to put my other self on a high carb diet and I was to maintain on a low carbohydrate diet to the same caloric value, my other self would have to work off the better part of 2 stone just to be in the same position I am for not doing any work. Now that 3,500 sort of calorie per pound is rubbish, but this is just highlighting the fact that when we play it at their own game, that we're still able to burn sort of considerably more energy. We're able to increase our metabolic rate.